Hey guys, Chris Dunn here, aka Boogie Man. Part 2 of putting the GSR badass G-Force 4-speed H-pattern NASCAR transmission in the Boogie Man. And we also found out while we missed second gear at Shady Side a couple of Sundays back, and we're going to walk you through what caused the transmission to fail. So stay tuned, here you go, let's roll. Okay guys, all right. Here's what happened. If you remember in the last part, I was telling you about the input shaft pilot bearing that goes in the back of the crankshaft. Well, what had happened here is the bearing had come out of this retainer and was letting the input shaft walk around. In fact, so bad that it actually, if you look, it started heating, wallered out the candlestick, hit it, and it actually literally right here burned into the input shaft. So once this moves around like this and this thing's out of alignment, it's just shaking around in there, the main shaft inside is moving like this and doing all of that, so it don't want to go into gear, and that's what had happened. So you know, I know people use these things, and I'm glad I found that other bearing. In fact, I'm going to put in the description the part number, the Napa part number for that bearing, so you never have to use this. If you're using a Chevrolet input shaft and a crank, you can use that bearing and don't even have to use this bull crap. In fact, I'm going to change these out. This is the one out of my other engine. I'm gonna take all this crap out. It just ain't good, man, because when you put it in there, you put it in that way, and you also tap that in. It just don't make sense to me. You know what I mean? It's not a really good design. So we're not gonna use them ever again. So that's what the problem was. Like I said, the bearing fell out. This was wallering around, shaking the transmission, and I ain't even tore into it how much damage we may have. So now we're going to move on to the car. We've got the GSR mocked in, meaning there's no clutch in it. The bell housing's bolted up. It's bolted up, and I'm modifying the slides now, which I think is going to work out even better than I thought. So hopefully we'll get it modified, and we'll get the GSR in, and then we'll have this as a backup for our, we're going to London, Kentucky here in a couple of weeks to the biggest stick shift race in the country. Heads up. No prep. So stay tuned, hold on, and let's go work on the car. Thanks, guys. Our problem's right here where this drain plug goes. The actual slide is fitting pretty doggone good. I think we're going to have to modify it just a little bit. Or at least that's what I thought. Why not? Let's see here. May have to elongate this bad boy. First off, let's make sure these are the right bolts. Yep, still 7/16. All right, we got to tighten this up. We need to make sure that this is good and tight. Simple fact of, we got to make sure this bad boy ain't sagging down or whatnot. So we'll tighten all this up. We'll speed all this up. Okay. Put one on that side. I really ain't worried about this as much because that ain't really gonna sag much. fit better than I thought it would fit. I was worried we'd have to redo this cradle, and don't look like we're gonna have to, which is sweet, because you know I can modify the other part a whole lot easier than I can modifying this cradle. We're basically going to pull this out here in a minute. We're not going to pull this part, I'm talking about this part. We're going to, you know, put our slides in here in a minute and pull it back out, clean it up, and then we're just going to end up basically making new bracketry from the transmission to the slide. And that would be so nice if that works out for us. And we ain't got so much, you know, remodifying. And the other part I like about that is we can carry our 101s as backups, or vice versa. We can switch these things out. The main reason I changed to a GSR is the shifter's on top of the tail cone. And it's the only one that you can really do that with. And I've just always had a problem since I built this car. The shifter's in my leg. I don't know how I did it. Well, I built it to a specific transmission, and that was probably the problem. And with that being said, okay, that's going to work good. We want this good and tight. So let's see if we can't get this thing to push on a little bit more in here. Find us something here to knock on it. And we might have to just, I ain't gonna lie to you, we might have to okay, there's our problem child right there on this side. And you want this thing tight. I mean, we want it tight. I don't know if we're gonna want it this tight. We may have to do a little bit of working it, and that'll be okay if we do. I'd rather work it. And see, that bad boy's really close. Alright, so we're going to have to, I'm going to double check, make sure all this is pulled up good and tight. That's up good and tight. Bell housing's up good and tight. Okay. So we got to come over here and die grind this just a little bit. Alright. Well, while we got, you know what, let's put this back. I got an idea here. While we're under here, let's look at what we got to do right there. I'd say we go, we're going to cut these wires off right here, and we're going to mount off of here. We're going to come down to the top of our tube right there and make us a plate to weld down here. This is already, and then we'll sleeve this back. So stay tuned, guys. Let's get this bad boy out, do some work on it, and then we'll go from there. Okay guys, I got the tranny working. Check that out right there. That bad boy is sliding back and forth. As you can see, pull it back, slides, push it forward, slides, just like so. Everything turned out nice. Mounted the brackets right off of the bolts like I said. And over here, if you can notice, you know, made a little tab coming down. Not to make nobody sick here. We'll go underneath and look at it. Everything turned out sweet. So, we got that done. All I got to do now is put my mounting eye on top. And I kind of wanted to run it up, kind of get an idea of where it needed to be. So when I slide it back, you know, I got to cut the tunnel a little bit here. You can notice. Cut the tunnel, make my lifting eye, which I'm thinking it can bolt right here, which would be sweet. And out it goes. Well, that's all of this episode. Stay tuned to the next one. Hopefully, probably maybe some testing at Greer Dragway here toward the end of the week. So thanks guys. Be sure to check the description and I'll have the numbers for the bearings for the back of the crankshafts. Chris Dunn, aka the Boogie Man.